What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Power Play with CJ. Going to focus in on why do the Florida Panthers suck so much. They lost again last night, got blown out in Minnesota, and contrary to popular belief, Jacques Gallant was not the problem. And they put Tom Rowe in charge, and they still suck. It's kind of funny. They went out, they spent all this money, and I was a proponent of their spending. And, you look at the guys they brought in, this offseason, James Reimer, let's start with him. You got who you think is your number one in the logo, and who, I know he's older, but, he's the guy that, he's your guy. Reimer comes in 3-4-2 on the season, 896 save percentage. Not good. They trade Goodbranson because they don't want to pay him next year, so they get Jared McCann. I thought that was a good trade. They would get a second round pick as well. McCann's got 3 points on the season and is in the AHL right now. You look at some of the other guys that came in. I mean, Pissick, and was not an offensive guy, but they trade Kulikov and brought him in. 6 points in 30 games. Not exactly lighting the world on fire. Keith Yandle's playing well, but he's a Massachusetts guy. He's always going to play well. And Aaron Ekblad. Let's go back to that for a second. 2 assists on the season. 9 points in 30 games. 7 goals. Which I think puts him second on the team, by the way, with goals. But, when you're that good of a defenseman and, you're expected to be that kind of a catalyst, it's not acceptable productivity. And again, maybe I was blinded by all the dollar signs getting thrown around with this team because I was like, oh, damn, they're willing to spend the money, and just because you're willing to spend the money doesn't mean, if you buy a car for $100,000, let me rephrase that. If you have $100,000 and you buy a car for $100,000 just for the sake of buying a car for $100,000, that doesn't make you a big spender. It makes you irresponsible. I think that's kind of what I'm getting at here. And, all the contracts they gave out kind of already bit them in the ass. And while it's not too late for them to get back in it, it's like they're 9 points out of a playoff spot, 30 games into the season, and they've got some good teams in front of them, namely New Jersey and Tampa, who are both. I mean, Tampa's obviously hurt a lot, really banged up. It has had a lot of injury problems this season, but, they're a hell of a team. And New Jersey is a very talented team. I don't think people realize that. They've got one of the best goalies in the NHL. Their D is suspect, but Taylor Hall. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you, he's a real deal. So those are gonna be tough outs, and it's kind of time is a flat circle with this Florida Panthers team. They kind of come out of the wilderness after 15 years, or the fuck it's been, and then it's like, oh, we're gonna spend all this money. We're gonna a great team, analytics. And now what? On paper, they got a hell of a team. Unfortunately, on paper and on the ice, 2 different things. And they've really got to get their shit together if they want to get back in this and be as good as I think they should be. Be all they can be, to borrow the U.S. Army slogan. So just gotta look at these numbers. I mean, they're not good across the board. Yager's playing like an almost 45-year-old. Marcia Show has been excellent. Nobody saw that coming, so it's And if you say you saw what Marcia Show had coming, then you're lying through your teeth. UC opening at 5 points in 20 games. I mean, Nick Bukes had 0 points in 11 games from injury. I don't know what more needs to be said. And going back to what I said about Tampa, I mean, Florida's had their injury problems. Obviously, Bukes was hurt, Huberdeau's still hurt, but come on, being this shitty this late in the season. Be better. And no offense to Tom Rowe, but he's not doing any better of a job than Gallant was. We'll see what happens though. Anyway, that's all I got in this episode of the Power Play with CJ. Stay tuned for episodes throughout the season and beyond. Later, guys.